What's up, everybody? It's your boy AT2 here. I gotta wait for like the thing to say live, so that's why I always do like a pose in the beginning. So I was just being funny. But what's up, everybody? This is gonna be an interesting show because it's rumored that Kamala Harris is running for president. Now, she did not say she's running for president, but she basically confirmed she's running for president. Like, I mean, did you see the statement? Let's go ahead and play the intro and get right on into it, you guys. What's up, everybody? It's your boy AT2 here, bringing you another episode of Talk the Real Deal with AT2. How everybody doing? How everybody living? How everybody feeling today? Or tonight, I should say. What's up, Keita? What's up, Rye? What's up, Bama Girl? What's up, Beautiful? I love seeing my members here, by the way. What's up? Who else we got here? Who else? Adrian, thank you for being here. Hello, everybody. Nice to see everybody's faces. Please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Hey, Paris, how you doing? Okay, so we are going back to politics today, or tonight, I should say. Let me pull up the statement. Dang, I thought I had it here. But Kamala Harris officially stated that she is not running for governor. She is going to take a step back from holding any kind of public office right now. Now, I already kind of seen the way things were turning. Basically, the Democrats are lining up, what's his name, Gavin Newsome, to run. Is anybody have a question about that? Like, does anybody agree with that statement? You can see them already lining up Gavin Newsome to run. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree with that. The way that it's looking, they're lining Gavin Newsome up to run. Like, because I don't know if you guys know, I still get like the emails, like the Kamala Harris Fight Fund. I still get all those emails and stuff like that, right? And they got Kamala Harris name all throughout it, but you'll see at the end like, oh, the DNC is asking for donations, blah blah blah. Basically, they're using Kamala Harris name to fundraise for Gavin Newsome. You cannot use my name and then use my name for somebody else. That's what they're doing, literally. They're using her name to fundraise for somebody else. That is crazy to me. And I was wondering, like, why Kamala hasn't told them, like, hey, stop using my name, stop, doing this, like, underneath my name. Maybe, they told her, like, oh, just hold on, we'll take care of you, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, you're not using my name to fundraise. I'm trying to pull it up right now. Hold on. I don't want to pull up my email because you weirdos are probably going to try to, oh, what he got in his emails, You know how they do. Yeah. They posted the Kamala Harris statement from Instagram, and then at the bottom of it, it got, please donate, blah, 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 blah. Yep. I was right. All right. So let me pull up her statement right now. Ooh, damn, it's small. I am blind as hell. Okay. Here we go, you guys. Let me blow it up a little bit. So it says, over the past 6 months, I have spent time reflecting on this moment in our nation's history and the best way for me to continue fighting for the American people and advancing the values and ideals I hold dear. I am devout public servant, and from the earliest days of my career, I have believed that the best way I could make a difference in people's lives and fight for the better future was to improve the system from within. And it has been a profound honor to do that work and serve the people of California and our nation as a prosecutor, attorney general, United States senator, and vice president. In recent months, I have given serious thought to asking the people of California for the privilege to serve as their governor. I love this state, its people, and its promise. It is my home. But after deep reflection, I've decided that I will not run for governor in this election. It continues, I have extraordinary admiration and respect for those who dedicated their lives to public service to their communities and to our nation. At the same time, we must recognize that our politics, our government, and our institutions have too often failed the American people, culminating in this moment of crisis. As we look ahead, we must be willing to pursue change through new methods and fresh thinking, committed to our same values and principles, but not bound by the same playbook. Wow. So what? So right here, I'm not finished reading it. Oh, Gigi Darling, she said Harris 2028. So what I'm getting from her, you guys, is that basically she knows that it's effed up. She knows that the people are pissed off, and she's like, we need to fix the system before running or doing anything because the system is effed. So that's what I got from it. Wow. It says, for now, my leadership in public service will not be in elected office. I look forward to getting back out and listening to the American people, helping elect Democrats across the nation who will fight fearlessly, and sharing more details in the months ahead about my own plans. In the United States of America, power must lie with the people. And we, the people, must use our power to fight for freedom, opportunity, fairness, and the dignity of all. I will remain in that fight. Very reminiscent of when she did her speech, her when when you concede, when she did her speech about staying in the fight and all that. So it mirrored that basically. And I like how she didn't say, "Oh, everything is perfect, the system is fine." Like she said, like, "No, we need to figure out what's going on with the people because the reason why, people didn't come out and vote or people felt disgruntled about the Democratic Party is because it was effed up. And we need to fix that before anything." And that's true because I feel like in 2026, if the Democrats don't take over the House, it's over. If they don't take back the House, it's over. So I think the fight right now, besides trying to be president, is to make sure you flip that. Senate, that's going to be a little bit harder just because, like, those states are basically grounded in, okay, yeah, they're not, those are safe seats that are up for 2026, right? So that one would be a stretch, but at least the House, you should be able to flip that. So I think doing the groundwork and thinking about 2026 before going to 2028, I think that's the best. However, this is where I kind of go back into kind of double speak because I feel like whoever the nominee is going to be, we need to decide that in 2026 as well. Believe it or not. And this is why. Because when you look at Trump, right? As soon as Trump lost in 2020, he was already out doing rallies and basically running again. The whole, oh, the election was stolen and all that. Then that led to January 6th and all that stuff. Even after that, he was running. He was always running. He didn't officially announce until a year before the election, but he was always doing rallies. His name was always out there. Where compared to the Democrats, they literally don't do no campaigning until the election. Like, come on. Of course, you are going to get decimated because you ain't did nothing until it's time for election. Where Trump, he's a household name. He's out there. He's speaking. Now, does he do a lot of lying and bullshitting? Yes, of course. But the people don't care about lying. They just want to feel good about the lie. I hate to laugh at it, but it's the truth. Because aren't we tired of seeing these Trump supporters all like, oh, I regret my vote. I can't believe this happened. How did he do this? And it's all like, bitch, He literally told you he was going to do this. But then they go, oh, he told us that he didn't read Project 2025. Yeah, dummy. They're not going to call it Project 2025. They're going to call it something different, dickhead. Like, and I feel like there needs to be Democrats out there who, not necessarily the politicians, but I mean like the podcasts, the YouTubers that speak more like that. Because we hear about the podcast bros, the Andrew Schultz, the Joe Rogans, and those people. They talk just direct, and it's not like, oh, we need to know. It's not all that caring PC, political correctness. Just talk straight. You are dumb. You are stupid. This is what you wanted. You wanted your Medicare to go away. You wanted people fired from their jobs. You wanted these tariffs. And there was something about Bill Maher. I wonder if I can find it that said like, oh, I thought Trump's tariffs were going to be bad, but they're actually not that bad. No, the reason why they're not that bad is because most of them have not even been put into play. That's why it's not that bad. He keeps putting it off. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Okay, this is from The Hill. Okay. Let me stop sharing this. Let me go here. I wonder, will The Hill strike me? Okay, here we go. Go. And please hit that like button too. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys are entertained by the show so far. Let me just make sure I still got y'all. Okay, here we go.
And I gotta own it that these tariffs were going to sink this economy by this time, and they didn't.
That is, of course, comedian and host of the Club Random podcast, Bill Maher, who appears to be backtracking on his early criticisms of President Trump's tariffs.
Can everybody wish Ray a happy birthday for me, please? Today is her birthday, and she's my moderator, but she's also somebody I met too. We actually have a picture together. I need to repost it, but yeah, shout out to Ray. Thank you so much for all the love and support, and thank you for just being you, somebody I can lean on, somebody I can talk to. So happy birthday to you, Ray. Thank you. Somebody asked me, Parts. That's who asked me. That's what comment I was trying to put up. Would I vote for her again? Yes, I would. I would. Oh, and there's Ray. There we go. Yeah, shout out to Ray, everybody. What's up, Denitria? Okay, Bill Maher, you are rich. That is correct. Let's see what they're saying.
In the past, Maher had called Trump's tariff-led approach to relations with China, quote, backwards, and even went so far as to suggest he was rooting for a recession just so Trump would realize this was not good and reverse course. But in a recent conversation with left-leaning commentator Brian Tyler Cohen, Maher admitted the disastrous effects he predicted would come from the tariffs just haven't come to pass. Take a listen to a little more of their conversation.
I remember along with probably most people, were saying at the beginning, oh, by the 4th of July, the economy was going to be tanked by then. And I was kind of like, well, that seems right to me. But that didn't happen. Now, it could happen tomorrow. I'm just saying that's reality. So let's work first from the reality of that, not from I just hate Donald Trump. Because that's boring and doesn't get us anywhere and leads you to dishonesty.
Meanwhile, President Trump is back in Washington after a trip to Scotland, where he signed his latest trade deal following the implementation of his so-called Liberation Day tariff.
I want to get the full clip of that because I wonder, did Brian Tyler Cohen question him about that? And if he didn't, that's the problem. Y'all just sucking each other's dick and not pushing back on anything. That's the problem. And regarding the tariffs, remember, it was only a 10% baseline. Remember all that craziness, like some countries are like 60%, 70%. We see 90% on some. That was only on certain That was like certain countries, like all those crazy tariffs. Like he didn't go with that. It was just like a 10% global, and then they have that deal with China. So he actually pulled back on his whole shtick about, yeah, he's gonna put these crazy tariffs on everybody. It was basically a scare tactic to get people talking and distract people. You know how like they like to distract from that Jeffrey Epstein list. And by the way, I don't think it's an actual list like the Jeffrey Epstein list. I think it's more or less like putting together the timeline of when people were around the girls and from what the girls had said, and then writing names of the people associated with the stories and the testimony from the women. I think it's more or less that. I don't think that Jeffrey Epstein had like an actual list and writing out a list like no. I don't think they had a black book. I think it's all like, hey, let me hit up this person. You want to come and party? Yeah, that. He shook most of these legacy media. Yeah, and you know, Don Lemon had spoke about legacy media, the ratings going down. Shout out to somebody who sent me that. But the legacy media, the ratings are going down. I think the ratings in general are going down, but with the news, it is. I think all in all, people are tired of the same shtick and then feel like they're being duped and feel like, okay, we don't have any real people, and it's kind of boring too. Like if you want to pique people's interest, and especially when it comes to politics, you have to be entertaining. There's not really like a big personality that I can think of that really entertains the people, or at least somebody that doesn't piss you off. You know what I mean? It kind of sucks, right? It's like the dossier, yeah, just like that, right? Okay, so going back, let me stop sharing that. But yeah, so our original point, it does seem like Kamala is going to run again. I think that would be the best move for her because, again, I think her going for governor of California, that's kind of like she would easily win because the people that we have right now running, like Katie Porter and people like that, nobody knows who the fuck that is, right? I kind of know who she is, but nobody knows who the fuck that is. If Kamala ran, that's name recognition and that's somebody that people know. She would definitely win. But I feel like it's almost like a disrespect, like, hey, you didn't get the presidency, so here's the governor. Yeah, it's a downgrade. I really feel like that would be a downgrade. I feel like if she goes for just that, like as far as the governor, there's no possibility of her running for president because she couldn't do it in 2028 because she just got a position as governor, and then she wouldn't be able to do it in the next 4 or 8 years. It'll be way too yeah, like this is literally the last hope. Now what I will say is that it's time for you to prove the people wrong because again, the Democrats did not want Kamala Harris at all. They didn't want her. They were mad that I always want to say Joe Budden. Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris and was all like, "Hey, I'm supporting her." But even with that, like I've always said, there was not going to be no primary or anything. It- what should have happened was Joe Biden didn't run again, right? That's what should have happened. However, he did. So within 107 days, there is no way they're going to be able to do some kind of primary and then, find a new candidate. Kamala is the one that had to step up. She was literally the only choice at that moment. I mean, when were they going to do a debate? When were we going to have a vote, a primary to like vote again and all that? Like, that's stupid. That would be dumb. And then let me tell you something too. If it would have happened last minute and then they wanted to do like some kind of open primary, what would have happened was that the delegates would have chosen the candidate. So we still wouldn't got the candidate that we wanted. The delegates would go ahead and vote and do it. So that idea that, oh yeah, we would have been able to have a new candidate. No, that's not true at all. The delegates would have chosen who they would wanted in that case. So it still wouldn't work out in anybody's favor where we would have got to choose. The only way that would have happened if Joe Biden did what he should have done and not ran. Why wouldn't he not have a black book? How would it connect with the rest of the weirdos? Like, well, what I'm stating is like he does not have like a book, like he's writing people down literally, and like this person with a name and like a list and connecting them to no, not a list. Like, as far as people going to the island and soliciting these girls and stuff like that, yeah, he knows who. But as far as like, a written down list of people, no, there's no such thing as a written down list. At least I don't believe there's a written down list. I'm not saying that there's not people that were soliciting these girls. I'm saying that there's not like a written list. That's two different things. Right, exactly. What's up, Ronnie? The entire Democratic Party are to blame for where we are at now. Joe Biden himself said he was going to be a one-term president. The party knew the timeline and they did nothing. Yes, he definitely should have been one time and that was it. Him thinking that he could go again, no. And then it's also like, okay, so he says that he's going to run for president again. I think publicly coming out and saying that he needs to drop and get kicked out was the wrong thing. Like when George Clooney did that ad to whatchamacallit, did the ad or whatever, I forgot what magazine, but when he did the ad and basically said that Joe Biden needed to step down, that was the wrong move to do. The wrong move. And then what made it worse is that everybody else dogpiled and did the same thing. Now, do I believe that he should have dropped out? Yes, wholeheartedly I do, right? However, it should have been done in private because the way that it looked to the rest of the world was crazy. Like, oh, y'all just going to kick him over to the side? Like, did he need to sit his ass down? Yes, of course, obviously. And especially knowing now that he has cancer, yeah, definitely. But publicly shaming him and trying to bully him into dropping out, it was just ugly. It was ugly. And the thing is that they definitely could have had those conversations privately. They could have had those conversations privately. It did not have to be a public spectacle. Those little leaks. No, the reason why that stuff was leaking out is because they wanted to put pressure on him. That's why. Totally along with Jake. Yeah, and fuck Jake Tapper too. Fuck that bitch. He's gonna write a book after the fact talking about, listen, I honestly don't care about Joe Biden. I don't care. And it's not in a bad way, but it's all like, okay, well, he's not the president. He ain't never gonna be president again. He got other battles. At this point, okay, like, what do you want to do? Like, really? Like, what do you want to do? Like, crying over Joe Biden ain't gonna do nobody no good, right? I hope Kamala runs the next presidency. By the time George Clooney said what he said, the damage was already done, taking its toll. Well, yeah, after the debate, yeah, it was bad, right? However, him putting out that ad publicly and knowing that he's a donor, knowing that he's friends with Obama, like, you couldn't just whisper in his motherfucking ear and be like, hey, you need to tell Joe Biden to drop out. That would have been the best thing to do. Publicly shaming him, I'm going to stand 10 toes down on this. Publicly shaming Joe Biden and telling him to step down was definitely the wrong move. That was definitely the wrong move. Privately, yes, round everybody up with a plan. Because even when you realize with Kamala's rollout, and she even said she got a call on Sunday, said that he was dropping out, and then said, hey, I'm going to endorse you. They didn't have a plan. They literally did not have a plan. This is why she had all of Joe Biden's people, because they did not have a plan. Now, should they have had a plan? Because, well, I think I asked you guys this before, right? I asked you guys this. I said, did we think that Joe Biden was going to make it all 8 years? And I think all of you guys said no. And it was apparent that we knew at some point he was going to have to tap out, right? He was going to have to throw in the white towel. We knew at some point. But again, with that being said, publicly shaming him, getting the media riled up and everything, like, listen, do I think Trump is able-bodied and Trump is the smartest person and everything like that? No, but something that the Republicans do great is they have loyalty. They see the bigger picture. They see the message. Do I think that there's Republicans that actually like Trump? Yeah, there might be a few, that MAGA base, but do the actual Republicans like Trump? No, but they have the thought process like, okay, we need to use him as our vessel. And look, it worked, because at the end of the day, Trump looked like he dying. Wow. Oh, shut up. I don't care if you get offended. He looked like he dying. However, they were able to put through Project 2025, right? They've seen the bigger picture. And mind you, Project 2025 has always been a thing. It actually started out with Reagan, but every Republican, they kind of tiptoed on it, but they never actually fulfilled it. Trump said, F that. This is my last hope. I'm going to fulfill that. This is why he has people in office that he does, like the Pete Hegseth and Pam Bondi and all these different people. This is why he have them. He made sure to put people this time that don't give a fuck about nothing, and they will be extremely loyal to him. Look at them. They even saying like, oh, there's no more story to the Epstein Files. Like, it's nothing. We released everything we released everything there is to release. He committed he committed, a sui. Nobody killed him. He was look. They are on message. They are on point. Now, remember that article from the Washington Journal, the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal, it even said, whatchamacallit? Can we watch you? You're watching right now. You're in the chat. What do you mean? What the fuck does that mean? But anyway, oh damn, what was I saying? Shout out to Lady Leticia. What am I saying? Y'all, I got distracted. I'm sorry. See, she done messed me up. What the hell? What's I saying? Oh damn, what was I saying, y'all? I done missed out on what I was saying. But basically everybody in Trump camp is loyal. They're loyal. That's what it is. They're loyal. There we go. They said that Trump already knew that his name was in the Epstein Files. And this is why he came out and said the Democrats, Trump knew his name was in the files. Let me see if I can pull up the article really. Okay, let me see if I can share this screen real quick. Where's my share screen? Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go.
There's bombshell reporting from the Wall Street Journal revealing Attorney General Pam Bondi telling President Donald Trump in the springtime his name appeared multiple times in the Jeffrey Epstein files. Now, Trump and Epstein were known to be close at one point in time. It was just one of many stories coming out this week regarding the Epstein investigation. CBS 6's Tom Eschen has a look at This Week in Politics.
I'm Tom Eschen. This week in politics, House Speaker Mike Johnson sent lawmakers home for an early summer recess in a bid to block a vote demanding more of the Jeffrey Epstein files to be released. Some Republicans are joining Democrats now in calls for more transparency. The DOJ announcing plans to meet with Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell is serving a prison sentence for sex trafficking charges related.
And yes, I believe that I believe that he knew that in 2019 when Jeffrey Epstein was murked. That's what I believe. But, I digress.
To the charges Epstein himself faced before his death. New York Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado says he hasn't spoken to Governor Kathy Hochul in months. He made the comment to CBS 6 while rallying with home health care workers and consumers.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry, I canceled it and I had the wrong one. Oops. Hold on. That's the wrong one. Or stop sharing. Hold on. Damn it. What did I do? You know what? I got hella tabs open. I need to close all these damn tabs.
Hochul has staunchly defended that contract. The White House claims to have evidence that President Barack Obama fabricated the 2016 Russian interference hoax to hinder Donald Trump's first White House bid. President Trump called it treason. A spokesperson for the former president gave a rare statement to this, calling the claims bizarre and a weak attempt at distraction. Hudson Valley Republican Congressman Mike Lawler will seek re-election in New York's 17th district.
Okay, we can stop all that. Okay. I actually love this question right here. G Sawyer says if it is true, if it is true that Trump's name was in the Epstein files, I know you meant files, then why did Biden not release the files? I'll wait. Well, I think one of the most important things to state is that the Democrats never made releasing the Epstein files like their platform. That was never like their thing. Do I think that some powerful people probably looked at that list and was all like, oh yeah, we're not gonna go ahead and put that out. Like that'd be too much. But I don't like, there always has been a push to see the Epstein files, but let's not pretend like it wasn't a push by like MAGA conspiracy theorists, because they said Joe Biden, Jay-Z and Beyonce, they had George Clooney, they had Bill Clinton, that's a big one, and we know Bill Clinton be doing some shit. They had all the Hollywood elites and Democrats. However, the person that has the most pictures with Jeffrey Epstein was Trump, and they never mentioned him, right? So it's all like, how do you have all these Hollywood elites and Democrats, but you don't have Trump, who is pictured with this man a bajillion million times? And here's the thing. I don't think any Democrat has a problem with saying if there is somebody on the list, like Bill Clinton, if there is somebody on the list, then they need to go to jail too. Nobody is saying like, oh no, like we can't put it out there because the Dems are on there. Like, okay. No, at the same token, like, yeah, if he's on there, he got to go. That was never their platform. The only reason why this is a big thing is because the MAGA conspiracy base was pushing it. They literally pushed it. And don't forget, Trump said he would release it. Now, with a lot of hesitation, but he said he would release it. So why aren't you mad at Trump? Trump said he would release it. I'm just telling you, he said he would release it. Kamala never said that. So why are we talking about what the Democrats are going to release and not release when they weren't the ones who said it? Trump said he was. Now, G. Sawyer, answer this. Why is Trump saying that Obama, Clinton, and Biden administration wrote the files? Why would he say that? If their names are on that list, why would he say that? Can you answer me that, G. Sawyer? Don't worry, we'll wait. You got to go to jail, Bill. Right? You got to go to jail. And where is the Democrat? But the Democrats didn't push for Epstein. Listen, everybody already knew that more than likely, well, let me say, on this side, people knew that Trump was connected to Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, you know, he was found liable of sexual assault. He said, grab him by the pussy. We know that he has some weird infatuation with his daughter. There's been tens of women saying that he assaulted them. Stormy Daniels, all the girls in the Miss Teen USA and all that. So we know, like, but you know, like, yeah. Listen, I didn't vote for the sexual assaulter, so I don't know. That's not a question for me. I didn't vote for him. But again, that was never their platform. Like, I don't think they ever made that a thing. But what I do think now, which is very smart and strategic, make that a part of it. Yeah, we pushing for this. Everything that the Republicans are saying that they're going to do, Democrats should hold their feet to the fire and be like, oh yeah, let's do it now. Yeah, let's do it. So I think it's a smart move. Release them goddamn files. My point is the Republicans have no problems in backing Trump lies. What I'm saying is that the Democrats just lie down and little happen. Right. I do feel, well, not in this case. I do feel like they are trying to push for it. But the thing is that they keep hitting like, for instance, when Mike Johnson, you know, he had early recess, so they wouldn't have to do a vote or anything like that. And now the Republicans want to have a bill to where they are in control of the Epstein files and what to release. Because what I do believe, there will be some more information released, but I feel like it's going to be released with some redacted names and information. The thing is, if there was a smoking gun against Trump, Epstein related, then that information would have leaked now. Here's another thing too, because I do agree with I do agree with that sentiment, but also too, there's that Michael Wolff guy who wrote like 4 books on Trump and even like was in the White House interviewing everybody. Look up Michael Wolff. He actually was trying to put out a lot of information because he spent a lot of time with Jeffrey Epstein, and he has all these recordings where Jeffrey Epstein is talking about Trump, right? A lot of that stuff the media didn't want to put out, or they didn't want to take, like they just kind of ignored it. So it was all like, why did they not want that information out? Again, I do feel like there's a lot of people that are probably on that list. And like I said, whoever is on that list, I don't care who they are, put their ass in jail. But again, like I said, I find it very interesting that Trump had said, "Oh, the Democrats, the Biden administration, they wrote it. They wrote the Epstein files." And now this is before, and mind you, he said that before we learned about the Wall Street Journal saying, like, yeah, Pam Bundy told him he was on the list. Because remember, they were gun-ho about it, and then they kind of was all like, you know. Yes, Citizen Morgan, we talked about, for those of you just joining in, I know we kind of got sidetracked with everything, but for those of you just coming in, I did read Kamala Harris' statement saying that she is not running for governor and she's keeping her options open for the future. But right now, she wants to help with the Democratic Party and really changing the system. So I think it was a well-written letter statement from Kamala Harris that kind of touched on a few things, and I feel like more than likely, yeah, she's running again. What I think her strategy should be this time is aligning herself with kind of like the anti-establishment Democrats, like the AOCs, the Jasmine Crockett's, and you know I hate this person, right? Bernie Sanders. I think it because there's no way Bernie is running again. Oh God, please no. But I think aligning herself with the anti-establishment and like really pushing for the policies that people care about, like housing, raising the minimum wage, Medicare, affordable health care. I think those kind of things, because she'd be the perfect liaison for meeting people in the middle, where with the Bernie and AOC, they want free college, free this, free that. That's going to be hard to push with a divided country. So you need somebody who can be that liaison and really push for a happy medium, right? Because trust me, I do believe in free healthcare, free college, and so forth and so forth, right? I do believe in all that. And by the way, minimum wage is something that everybody agrees on. So that's not really like a hot topic. Like everybody wants minimum wage, right? To raise the minimum wage. However, I think somebody who can meet them in the middle. With Gavin Newsome, this is one of the issues with him. He will bend and stretch to whatever. We literally see him in real time changing his thought process and his policies. And the fact that it's not so much that he was interviewing like those right wingers like Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk. It was that he was basically agreeing with everything that he was saying and he wasn't pushing back at all. Now that he got that criticism, he's starting to do his podcast and push back on people more. But beforehand, he was just literally guzzling their cum. Oh shit. I didn't mean to say it like that. I didn't need to say it like that, but damn, he was, it is what it is. And I think also too, what helps, like if it's not, my thing is like, if it's not Westmore, Kamala Harris, yeah, I mean, all in all, Gavin Newsome, if it came down to it, because I can't be a hypocrite and say, oh, you need to go need to go for the greater good and push the messaging instead of worrying about the how do I say, the litmus test of like having a perfect candidate. And I think also too, we need to have that conversation about the perfect candidate. There will never be a perfect candidate. If you want a perfect candidate, you need to run for office. Simple as that. If you want a perfect candidate, you need to run for office. I think the notion like there's going to be somebody who says and does everything right, no, that's not going to happen. And hell, by the time the 4 years is up, we might just want somebody who can breathe. Because literally, that's what we did with Joe Biden. We knew that, he wasn't the greatest, but he could breathe, and we just needed somebody, right? So yeah. I think one of the major things that is still an issue, and I would like to see the pro-Palestinian movement challenge Trump instead of challenging all the Democrats, because, excuse me, at this point, what can they do? But the Democrats are definitely going to have to work out a plan for Israel, Gaza, and all that. They're going to have to work that out. That needs to already be into play as what they're going to do with that situation. And I've been very critical of the pro-Palestinian movement, but I want to be clear. Let's be clear. I'm not criticizing the people of Palestine, obviously. It's the people who go like, oh, well, I'm not voting, or I'm going to disrupt all the Democrats, but they don't do anything about Trump, who's currently in office. Like, that's my problem, you know? So that really needs to be addressed at the end of the day. Yeah, that's something that can't, yeah. They can't let that go. They can't let that go. They need to fix that or have a plan to fix it. Yeah. Yeah, Netanyahu, he need to go. He need to go. Don't shout me down. Wait, hold on. What's up? Absolutely, Democrats need to confront Netanyahu. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that needs to be resolved. So hopefully, they work on some. Well, they're gonna have to address it for 2026. So hopefully they working on that now. But that's something that they're gonna have to work on. Um, I think also too, reaching out to the people, whoever the candidate is, reaching out to the people and really start building that grassroots movement, that's going to be important too. Now that you have the chance to actually focus on seeing what the people need, hearing what the people need, seeing what they need, now is the time, whoever the candidate is going to be, to do that groundwork and really get that grassroots movement working. So, whoever it's going to be, they need to start working on that too as well. In my opinion, black people need to worry about policies in our country and not foreign policies. I agree to a certain sentiment. I agree to a certain sentiment. Um, Not focusing on foreign policy is detrimental, and you have to follow it, pay attention, and care about it, because it does affect us in the long run. But I will say that overall, yes, we need the focus to be on us. Like, yes, the focus definitely needs to be on what we need to do here in America to help us, but that needs to be in the back of your mind what you're going to do for that, because we don't want another situation where they holding out on votes and then they doing all that protesting and distracting from the messaging. And yeah, those people need to be silenced, but silenced with, hey, we're going to help and we're going to get some solution. That's what I mean by that, right? Yes, multitask. Yeah. Because again, you have to be able to do it all. You just can't do one thing. You got to do it all. Oh, and I didn't even think about immigration. Yeah, definitely. Even though it's already bad, you guys, I think that the immigration, the mass deportation, that's only going to get worse. I don't think that we've seen the worst yet. We have not seen the worst yet. It's going to be more. Yeah. As long as the Democrats accept APAC money, they'll never confront BB. And that's definitely a problem too. But I feel like now it's gotten to the point where you can't ignore it. Like, you can't ignore it. And that's something that's going to have to be addressed. Like, or shit, it might be too late to where they end up, because basically the way that it's going, they're going to end up with just an Israel and no Palestine. There will be no Gaza. It's all going to be one. And those people are going to be removed from their land, which was stolen. Right. Giving him billions of dollars and not holding him accountable. Yeah. That needs to stop immediately. I'm just gonna keep it real. The war over there been going on for centuries. Yeah, and you know, and that's the other thing too. That's not a new issue. What was new was when Hamas had attacked Israel, but that's not a new issue at all. Like that's been going on since 1948, as you guys know. Yeah, it is apartheid basically. Affordable housing hasn't been yes, affordable housing. You know, there's people who are always on like low income waiting lists for like 10, 15 plus years. That's crazy to me. Like you can literally be on a waiting list 10 plus 15 years for an apartment or housing. That has to be resolved. I think that's something that people haven't really talked about is those long wait lists for affordable housing. Because you should not be on a list for like 10, 15 years. That's crazy. So you telling me you've been living on the street because you can't get a home or you can't afford a yeah. Yeah, that needs to be addressed. Um Black population is on the decline 9% in 2025. I mean 2050. I have not heard that actually. I will look into that. Thank you for telling me. I will look into that. Housing hasn't been affordable in 20 years. Right. I never even made it to the list. I've been on one of those lists, but I've never been called or anything like that. But I feel like after a while they take you off, right? You know, I feel like after a while they take you off. And to speak on the population, I think the population is declining um in general because people aren't having babies. Hell shit, I'm one of them. People aren't having babies like they used to. I think that also plays into it. The system for public housing hasn't been revised in over 50 years. See? And that's a problem. We should give this land back to the Native Americans. We stole it from them. Justice for those graves in Canada who, yeah, especially in Canada, because they pretend like they don't have racism there. But yeah, rebuilding the social system, the social safety net. I agree. Yeah, T is right. Can you give us the source? I know that it's supposed to actually I can look it up. Before we get out of here, I'll look it up real quick. Hold on. You said 2050? This is just the AI tool on Google. It said no, the black population in the US is not projected to decrease by 2050, while other racial and ethnic groups are projected to grow at a faster rate. The black population is still expected to increase at a slower pace than some other. Yeah, I know that eventually Hispanics will be the majority, but overall, yeah, I don't see that. Yeah, I don't see that we're going to decrease. And I want to say, yes, I ding 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 ding. I want to say that too. It's funny that we talk about like the majority because when we talk about the world, white people are the minority of the world. But it's just funny how we characterize us as the minority when we're actually the majority, the people of color, of course. But you know, but if we're just talking black, there's more black people in the world than there are white people. See, this is some more foreign policy. Thank you, Parks. They also need to help Africa. They still don't have power at night. I have a friend who tells me, yeah, I think if we're going to talk about foreign policy, they really need to capitalize off of, well, let me be careful of how I use that, but they need to put resources into Africa because You see what China doing. You see what Russia is doing. They already know that Africa is going to be the next big thing. So with that being said, America needs to hop on that trend. The last time Africa was visited was actually when Kamala went, and she was the vice president. But that was the last time they've been to Africa. I don't think they've been to Africa since, like the president and stuff like that. I'm still and God damn it, we need our reparations. Ding, 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 ding. Yes, I'm all for that. Yes. Yeah, and I think that's the other thing with the whole USAID or USAID, like all that, them stopping like medical care, food, helping with starvation, famine, and all that. That's really going to put us in a bind when those people stop getting those that assistance, and then they start wanting to retaliate against us, and then we're gonna have more attacks. And I'm telling you, it's gonna be very dangerous. Like the way that we kind of have with America, we're not to ourselves. Like that hasn't been a thing since I believe like the 80s or something like that, where we just been America. Now we're worldly, we're of the world. Like it's too it's too late for us. And what Trump is trying to do is basically pull out and be like, okay, just America first. We're only focusing on America, but we're already so far deep in it. It's impossible for us just to be like, oh yeah, we throw up our hands, we're pulling everything out. Like, no. And let's be honest too, because we're always going to fund a war of some country and try to take it over and steal their resources. Yeah, it's not gonna work. Our soft power. That's where we get our soft power from. So if we don't have that soft power, you know, it is what it is. Wonder Bread. Shout out to Story because he always talking about Wonder Bread. Yeah. Yeah, he wants to be an isolationist, but it's too late. Yeah, it's way too late. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end the show there. We're almost at an hour mark. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Let me know what you guys think about, you know, the news of Kamala not running for governor, and also all the topics that we talked about today. I really love talking about this kind of stuff, so I'm always interested in it. There will be a few videos that I will upload, a few about the Epstein, because, yeah, we still need to keep pressure on the whole Epstein thing, right? But there's a few other pre-recorded videos that I'm working on, so those will probably be out like late at night. Yeah, hella late at night. Those will be out. But again, I love y'all. Appreciate y'all for being here. Y'all have a good night. We out. Deuces, y'all. Did it? Oh, it didn't even do it. Dang it. I thought it was going to do the outro. All right, here we go. We